Welcome back to the channel everyone. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of coins and numismatics, and today's spotlight is shining brightly on the humble yet powerful 1980 United States dime. At first glance, this little 10-cent piece might look like just another coin you toss into your change jar, but believe me, there is so much history behind it, and in some cases these coins can be worth a whole lot more than their face value. Now let us begin with the basics. The 1980 dime is part of the Roosevelt dime series, which has been in continuous production since 1946. The coin was introduced to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who guided America through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt passed away in 1945, and soon after the nation wanted to memorialize him in a lasting way. What better choice than the dime, because during his presidency Roosevelt was associated with the March of Dimes campaign, which helped raise money to fight polio, a disease that Roosevelt himself lived with. So by 1946 the Roosevelt dime was born, and by 1980 it had already been in circulation for 34 years. The coin is small, weighing just 2.27 grams, made primarily of copper with a nickel coating that gives it that silver-like shine. Remember, real silver was removed from dimes back in 1965 when rising silver prices forced the mint to switch to a copper nickel-clad composition. So by 1980 every dime struck at the mint was this modern-clad version, not the 90% silver kind collectors chase from earlier decades. But wait, just because it is not silver does not mean the 1980 dime has no value. Quite the opposite. In numismatics, sometimes errors, varieties, or high-grade conditions make ordinary coins extraordinary. Let us talk about mint marks and mintage first. The 1980 dime was produced in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins carry no mint mark, just a plain space on the coin. Denver coins carry a small letter D, and San Francisco coins carry the S mark, which usually indicates proof. Coins made especially for collectors. In 1980 the Philadelphia mint produced over 735 million dimes. The Denver mint pumped out more than 735 million as well, and the San Francisco mint created a little over 3 million proof dimes. That means there are a lot of these coins out there. However, not all of them are equal for collectors. Condition is everything. Now imagine you find a 1980 dime in circulation. It might be scratched, it might be worn down from decades of use. That dime is probably only worth 10 cents, but if you find a 1980 dime in pristine condition, graded mint state by a professional grading company, things change. For example, in MS65 condition or higher, collectors will pay a premium. Prices can jump from a couple of dollars all the way up to hundreds of dollars if the coin is exceptional. In fact, the highest auction record for a 1980 dime was set when a perfect top graded example sold for thousands of dollars. But the real treasures are error coins. Yes, sometimes mistakes happen at the United States Mint. Planches are misaligned, dies are cracked, or the strike is off-center. These little errors make the coin unique, and collectors love uniqueness. For the 1980 dime, known errors include off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planches. An off-center strike can make a dime worth $50, $100, or even more depending on how dramatic the error is. A double die dime with doubling on the lettering or numbers can also fetch hundreds. The most dramatic errors sometimes reach into the thousands. Another important note is proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Proof dimes are struck with extra care and polished dies. They have a mirror-like background with frosted devices, making them highly collectible. A proof 1980s dime in perfect PR70 condition can be worth anywhere between $50 and several $100 depending on the market. Speaking of the market, let us talk about current value as of right now. In the numismatic marketplace, circulated 1980 dimes are generally worth only face value, which is 10 cents, but in uncirculated grades like MS65 you can expect anywhere from $2 to $10. Higher grades like MS67 can bring $100 or more. Proof coins in PR69 or PR70 can range between $25 and $150, and when it comes to error coins, the sky is the limit. One dramatic off-center strike recently sold for over $400, and that is for a coin most people would overlook in their pocket change. Now, you might be wondering how to tell if your dime is valuable. The first step is always to look at condition. A shiny coin with sharp details is worth examining further. Second, check for the mint mark on the obverse just above the date. Is it from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco? Third, check for any unusual features: doubling, off-center strikes, cracks, or missing parts of the design. And finally, if you think you have something special, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can certify the coin and assign it a grade which can significantly boost its value on the market. Beyond value, let us appreciate the history. This little dime carries the portrait of Franklin Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. Back in 1946, his initials JS appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck. The reverse design features a torch symbolizing liberty with an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength and independence. A powerful message packed into such A small coin, so next time you get change back from the store, do not overlook those dimes, especially from 1980. They may look ordinary, but if you find one in pristine condition or with a striking mint error, you could be holding something worth far more than 10 cents. To wrap it all up, the 1980 United States dime is a modern clad coin, but it still carries incredible value for collectors depending on its grade, proof status, or minting errors. It can be worth from a few dollars all the way to hundreds, and sometimes even thousands if you have one. Check it carefully, you never know, you might just be holding a hidden treasure in the palm of your hand. And there you have it, friends, the full story of the 1980 Roosevelt dime, from its history and design to its current market value and the rare errors that make it so desirable. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting, hit that like button, share this video with your fellow collectors, and do not forget to subscribe for more fascinating coin stories every single week. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story behind the 1985 United States dime, a coin that might look small and ordinary in your pocket but could actually be worth a surprising amount of money. When people think about coin collecting, they often picture rare silver dollars or old colonial coins, but sometimes the real treasure hides in plain sight, and one of those hidden gems is the Roosevelt dime from 1985. Now, before we jump into the values and the market, let us first take a moment to appreciate the history of this little coin, because every coin tells a story, and this dime is no exception. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the previous year. Roosevelt was beloved for leading America through the Great Depression and World War II, but he was also known for his commitment to fighting polio, which made the dime the perfect coin to honor him, because the March of Dimes charity was tied to his legacy. That is why his portrait still shines on the obverse, the front side of the dime. By 1985, the dime had already been around for nearly 4 decades, and in that year the United States Mint produced millions of these coins at different locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint mark appears as a small P, the Denver Mint has a D, and the San Francisco Mint produced special proof coins marked with an S. Each of these mint locations plays a huge role in determining how rare or valuable a specific 1985 dime can be. So what makes a 1985 dime valuable? Most dimes from circulation are worth just their face value of 10 cents, but coin collectors know to look for special characteristics. For example, the condition of the coin is everything. If your dime is heavily worn and scratched, it will likely only be worth a dime, but if you have one in mint state condition, that means it looks almost brand new, straight from the mint without scratches or wear, then you could be holding a coin worth several dollars or even much more. Proof coins from 1985 are another major factor. These coins were not released into general circulation but were made specifically for collectors. They have mirror-like finishes and sharp details, and they can bring in much higher values on the coin market depending on the grade and preservation of the proof coin. A 1985's dime can sell for several dollars to over $100 in top condition. Now here comes the exciting part: error coins and varieties in coin collecting. Errors can be worth big money, and the 1985 Roosevelt dime has some interesting ones to look for. Double die errors, where the design appears doubled, can be very desirable. Off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was not struck properly, can also fetch impressive prices. Another rare type of error is a blank planchet, meaning the coin was never fully struck at all. These kinds of mistakes slip past quality control and end up in the hands of lucky collectors who later discover their rarity. Some error dimes from 1985 have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on how dramatic the mistake. Let us also talk about grading, because this is where serious value comes into play. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 1985 dime graded at mint state 67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can easily be worth $20, $50, or even over $100. This might not sound like life-changing money, but remember, we are talking about a coin that most people would overlook as just spare change. The market for Roosevelt dimes continues to grow because collectors are realizing that modern coins from the 1980s can be much harder to find in pristine condition than people once thought. Think about it: when these coins were first minted, most people used them every single day to buy gum soda or make phone calls at payphones. Not many people saved them away in perfect condition. That is why high-grade examples are far scarcer than the massive mintages might suggest. Now let us turn to the current market values for the 1985 dime. In circulated condition, it is worth just face value 10 cents. In uncirculated mint state condition, depending on the grade, you might see values ranging from $2 to $10. Higher-end grades like mint state 67 or mint state 68 can bring prices from $50 to $200 or more depending on demand. Proof coins from San Francisco are typically valued between $5 and $20, but perfect graded examples known as Proof 70 Deep Cameo can sell for over $100, and rare mint errors are in a category all their own, with some fetching $200, $300 or even higher at major auctions. Collectors love coins that tell a story, and the 1985 dime certainly does. It is a symbol of Roosevelt's enduring legacy. It reflects American history during the mid-1980s, and it holds the potential for hidden value in your everyday change. That is what makes coin collecting so much fun. You never know when an ordinary-looking coin in your hand could actually be a valuable treasure. So the next time you check your pocket change, pay close attention to those dimes, especially the ones dated 1985. Look for the mint mark, look for any signs of errors, and always check the condition, because you just might be holding a coin that is worth far more than 10 cents. To wrap things up, the 1985 Roosevelt dime is a piece of American history with both sentimental and financial value. It may not be as famous as some of the rare silver coins, but for collectors it is a rewarding hunt. Whether you find a beautiful proof coin, a high-grade mint state dime, or a rare error variety, the thrill of discovery is priceless. Thank you for watching and joining me on this journey into the story of the 1985 United States dime. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin collecting stories, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Drop a comment below and let us know if you have found any interesting 1985 dimes in your collection or in your pocket change. I would love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe the next coin you find could be worth a lot of money. Today we are diving deep into a coin that you might have seen 1,000 times in your pocket change but never really thought twice about: the United States 2011 dime. This small silver-colored coin might look ordinary, but the story behind it, the hidden details, and the value in today's collector market may surprise you. Let's begin with the basics. The dime is one of the smallest circulating coins in the United States, not only in size but also in face value, standing at just 10 cents in everyday money. The dime has carried a remarkable amount of history since it was first introduced back in 1796. The design we use today is called the Roosevelt dime, a design that has been around since 1946. The portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, or the front side of the coin, was chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and also because of his strong support for the March of Dimes charity, which helped fight polio. Now specifically, the 2011 dime is part of that same Roosevelt series. It was minted in large numbers at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The mint marks are small letters located on the coin. If you see a tiny P, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. If you see a D, that means Denver. And of course, coins from the San Francisco Mint often carry the S mark, and those are usually proof coins made for collectors. But what makes a 2011 dime special to collectors is not the face value, it's about condition, rarity, and errors. While most 2011 dimes are still worth just 10 cents, there are certain examples that can be worth far more than you might think. First, let's talk about condition. Coins are graded on a scale that goes from poor all the way to perfect mint state. A 2011 dime that has been heavily circulated, scratched, and worn is generally only worth face value, but if you find a coin that looks brand new, untouched by circulation, with its luster still shining, those are called uncirculated or mint state coins. Collectors love high-grade examples. A 2011 dime graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services can fetch anywhere from $50 to over $150 at auction, depending on demand. Now let's get into something that always excites coin collectors: error coins. Every once in a while mistakes happen at the mint, and those mistakes create rare variety. Some examples include off-center strikes, where the design is not properly centered on the coin, double die obverse or reverse, where the design elements appear doubled, and even missing mint marks. Although not every error has been found on the 2011 dime yet, there are known examples of weak strikes, coins with unusual metal planchette flaws, and even dimes with partial collars. These kinds of error coins are extremely collectible, and the right buyer could pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars for a dramatic error. Let's also talk about proof coins from 2011. Proof dimes are special coins struck with polished dies on specially prepared planchets, giving them a mirror like surface. These are not meant for circulation but instead are sold directly to collectors by the US Mint. If you have a 2011 proof dime, especially in its original government packaging, it could be worth several dollars to even over $20 depending on condition. But if it is graded as a perfect Proof 70 Deep Cameo by a service like PCGS or NGC, that value can skyrocket even higher. Now you might be asking, what about silver? The standard dimes minted for circulation since 1965 are not silver. They are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. However, special collector sets sometimes contain 90% silver dimes. In 2011, the United States Mint did release silver-proof sets that included a silver Roosevelt dime. If you happen to have one of these silver dimes, it is already worth far more than 10 cents because of the silver content alone. On Top of that, collectors value these coins in pristine condition, which means the value can range anywhere from $5 all the way to $30 or more depending on the silver market and grade. Speaking of the market, let's touch on current values. As of today, circulated 2011 dimes are worth their face value of 10 cents unless they have errors or high-grade condition. Mint state coins can range from a few dollars to over $100 in the highest grades. Proof coins, especially silver proofs, can bring $10 to $30 an. Dramatic mint errors, as we mentioned earlier, can be worth hundreds or more. The coin market is constantly changing based on collector demand, silver prices, and auction results, so it is always smart to keep an eye on trusted coin price guides and auction records. The big question is, should you be checking your change for a 2011 dime? Absolutely every coin has a story, and you never know when you might come across a hidden gem in your pocket. A simple 10-cent coin could surprise you and turn into a treasure worth far more than you imagined. Now let's step back and appreciate the bigger picture. The 2011 dime is not just about money, it is a reminder of how history, art, and economy come together in a small piece of metal. The portrait of Franklin Roosevelt still inspires the memory of resilience in difficult times. The torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolize liberty, peace, and strength, and the fact that collectors hunt for every detail from mint marks to errors shows how even the smallest everyday object can carry so much significance. So the next time you find a 2011 dime in your hand, don't just toss it into a jar. Take a closer look, check for that mint mark, examine the details, shine a light on it. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. If you enjoyed learning about the 2011 dime, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin history and values, and leave a comment below if you have a special dime in your collection. We would love to hear your stories. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins can hold the biggest secrets. Would you like me to expand this into an even longer, documentary-style script with more storytelling about Franklin D. Roosevelt, the evolution of the dime's design, and the history of US coinage leading up to 2011? That would make the video script much more epic in length and appeal. You've reached the maximum length for this conversation, but you can keep talking by starting a new chat. Retry unlock more with plus. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting and numismatics, and in this video we will be talking about a very small but extremely powerful coin that most people overlook, the 2020 United States dime. Now at first glance the dime may seem like just another piece of change, something you toss into a jar or slide into a vending machine, but the 2020 dime is not only tied to a long history that goes back decades, it can also hold incredible value in today's collector market. If you know what to look for, so sit tight and stay until the very end, because I will be covering the full history of the dime, why the 2020 issue is so important, which era coins from that year are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and of course the current market value, so you can check your own pocket change and see if you might be holding a hidden treasure. Let's start with the history of the dime itself. The United States dime as we know it today was first introduced back in the late 18th century, and over the years the design has changed several times, from the early draped bust design to the seated liberty to the barber dime to the mercury dime, and finally to the design most of us are familiar with today, the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was first minted in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Roosevelt was remembered not only as a great leader during the Second World War, but also as someone who played a major role in establishing the march of dimes to fight polio. That is why his portrait was chosen for the dime, and it has remained on the coin ever since. Fast forward to 2020, the Roosevelt dime was still being minted by the United States Mint in both Philadelphia and Denver, as well as special proof strikes from San Francisco. The year 2020 was an unusual and historic year for the world, and that included the world of coin production. The pandemic impacted mint operations and created strange disruptions in coin circulation, which makes certain 2020 coins more collectible today. Now, what makes the 2020 dime so fascinating is not just its design, but the potential for errors and varieties that have been discovered by collectors. These errors are where the true value lies, because while a regular circulated 2020 dime may only be worth its face value 10 cents, certain errors can make the coin skyrocket in price. Some of the most valuable errors to look out for in the 2020 dime include off-center strikes, where the coin design is noticeably shifted and part of the blank planchet is visible, double die obverse or reverse, where the lettering and details like "In God We Trust, Liberty" or the date 2020 appear doubled. Minting mistakes such as missing elements or partial collars that give the coin an odd shape, or rim and die cracks or cuds where the metal has flowed into cracks on the die, creating raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Collectors and grading services such as PCGS and NGC have already confirmed that certain era dimes from 2020 have been selling for impressive amounts online depending on condition, rarity, and demand. Prices can range anywhere from $20 for a small minor error to several $100s for dramatic misstrikes, and in some rare cases proof error coins from the San Francisco Mint can even reach into the thousands of dollars. But beyond errors, condition also plays a huge role in determining the value of a 2020 dime. If you happen to find a coin in mint state condition with no scratches, shiny luster, and sharp details, then that dime can already be worth more than face value. Collectors often pay premiums for high-grade coins, especially those graded MS67, MS68 or higher by professional services. A perfect coin in flawless condition can command serious money in auction. So what is the current market value of a 2020 dime today? A regular circulated dime from 2020 is still just worth 10 cents in everyday use, but in the collector market the story is very different. A 2020 Roosevelt dime in high mint state condition can sell for $10 to $30 fairly easily. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, especially the silver proof versions that were included in special collector sets, can be worth between $5 and $15 depending on the market. If you have a high-grade silver proof or one with a known error, you could be looking at $50 to several $100s. And as I mentioned earlier, if you happen to own a dramatic minting error, like a double die or a major off-center strike, then you could be holding a coin worth hundreds or even thousands. The bottom line is this: never underestimate the power of the dime. The 2020 Roosevelt dime may be small, but its story is huge. It connects us to the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt. It reflects a turbulent year in American history, and for sharp-eyed collectors it represents an opportunity to find rare and valuable pieces hiding in everyday change. So the next time you get some coins back at the store, take a close look at those dimes. You might just find a hidden treasure sitting right in your hand. And remember, collecting coins is not just about the money, it's also about the history, the art, and the stories these little pieces of metal carry with them. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, share it with your fellow coin collectors, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins and collectibles. Also drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare 2020 dime, or if you have questions about coins you'd like us to cover in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy collecting.